Cooper's Family, Part 9. David said, is there a chance he could still do it? He who asked to remain anonymous, name was William Knockett, or No Kerry, thinks that he will still kill, but I did research and he now has a walking frame. So he hasn't much chance to catch me now. Unless he tries to catch me with a walking frame. Like that. That'd be a hard way though. David asked William then that he has got anyone like a gang member or anyone to go after you. Williams wasn't sure, but didn't want to test to see if he has. He just wants to forget about it. David suggested to William that he should make this guy suffer for what he did by having him put in a lockdown mental house, because he shouldn't die thinking that what he did was good in any way. William said, I should, but how should I do it? David said, you could go under oath in court and I could request that he gets constant guard so he couldn't ring friends or anyone. William thanked him and decided to see if he has the right to do that. Sue's next patient was a 42-year-old woman. When she was a teenage rebel, had a gun pointed to her head, and for about 1 hour to try to get the bad out of her head. Sue asked her name, which was Sandra Kinner. When Sandra was a teenager, she changed the ends in her last name and the I's so she could be known as Killer. It worked like a charm until one alcoholic decided to put a gun to her forehead. She told Sue that no one, even her parents, didn't respect her then, but she still has nightmares from that trauma. Now she is worried that the drunk was sort of out of line, particularly when she sees people on the news doing the same kind of thing, and it sounds so wrong. Sue told her to keep a good head on her shoulders, because what you would like in the past is in the past, and everyone did at least something wrong when they were teenagers, so people shouldn't worry about that. So Sue said, if you really are worried about it, you should do research about trying to track down this man and have him put away, because taking the law into his own hands is wrong, no matter how good are his intentions. Sandra asked Sue, how could she start? Sue told her, look around at the place it happened and try to figure out his occupation back then. But you need to know that probably a lot of people who know him might hate you and want you dead. So tread carefully, Sandra. Sandra thanked Sue and went out of the waiting room to make the next appointment to see Sue Cooper. Sally is helping a 35-year-old who is dying of cancer and is begging she gives him a morphine because he is suffering really badly. Sally told him that work ethic's involved, but come in here and tell me all what is going on in your life. The man said, My name is Fred Brown. My wife and kids moved away from me. I lost my job because they wanted someone more able to permanent. Because people asking me to go to a hospice, and I won't be seen dead in one of those places. And my parents told me I only have myself to blame for everything that happens to me. I normally don't ask for an easy way out, but this is a fucking emergency, and it's hard to live anymore. Sue asked Fred, did he request chemo for it? Fred said he tried it, but it made his body feel worse. So I never came back there. Fred told Sue, if you don't help me die, I will kill myself. Sally brought Fred down to the lockup area of the clinic and called the police because Fred is in danger to himself as well as other people. Sally suggested the mental health assessment unit instead of jail because his problems are not criminal but personal trauma. There is a masked motorcyclist lurking around Melbourne trying to find a new love interest. Sue is turned on by his sudden charm he brings to everybody as he moves quickly on a motorcycle. She said to her friends, isn't he a hottie? Her friends agreed with her immensely. David's next patient is John Foran, who has arthritis on his hip and keeps trying to jump the waiting list to get a hip replacement. This time David was one step ahead of him when he said, we haven't got any space for you because you haven't got insurance, so you have to be patient. David offered to put him on drugs to ease the pain, but he is getting sick of it because he has waited for this procedure for 5 years. He means 5 years of total pain, and he didn't want drugs because they all have side effects, which he doesn't want. David told him he'll see what he could do, but he is not promising anything to it. The masked motorcyclist finally reveals himself to the Coopers as John Anthony Prendth, who just made himself one of Sue's many patients, and he is having problems with aches in his head and wants Sue to take an X-ray of it just to make sure everything is normal. Sue asked him, where is he from, to see if he's well mentally. But John was not saying he had a mental illness. He said it could be a migraine headache or something because he never heard of that happening to people like him before. He thought it was a little old lady thing and not a motorbike rider. Sue gave him a head scan and told him that there is nothing that she could see, but she will give him a script for migraine medication just to be on the safe side. After that, John confessed and he has the hots for her and wants to have the courage to ask her out. Sue said goodbye to John, and was so happy she went in and told her mum and dad about the new man in her life. Ron was startled and told her to be careful of yourself as well as the business. And Sue said, Ron or Dad, that she will not marry him unless she finds out if he really is the right one. Sue rang John up and said yes to Friday night dinner and dancing, and John was delightful and she liked him. Sue couldn't wait to tell her friends about her hottie motorcyclist is her date this Friday. Meanwhile, David's on it. Okay, we'll start the next one. That's the end of that part. I hope you enjoyed.